This is a type of sword that is called a small sword. And I always found that a little bit curious why it would be called a small sword, because it's actually longer than some of Washington's other swords. But it's called a small sword because of its history. It derives from the rapier of the Middle Ages, which was much longer and harder to maneuver. So as the blades got shorter and they became more easily to maneuver, they were called small swords. Now, one of the interesting things I think about swords is we've sort of lost sight of what their meaning was in the 18th century, and we think of them as primarily military artifacts. And they were clearly weapons, and this thing could clearly be lethal if you needed it to be. But they were really in many ways far more important as an accessory of gentleman's dress, like custom leather-made shoes or a custom Italian suit or a fine tie. And they changed fashion rather rapidly. So we can look at this sword and see that it is very much a product of the 1760s when it was made. And in terms of decorative art styles, very much moving from the Rococo period with its naturalism and its scrolls and its swirls and its shells, to a bit of the neoclassical period. So you can see on the blade, it's a triangular shaped blade. It's a particular type of blade known as a Schoelwer blade, which means it has this relatively thicker top part that has rather sharply angled shoulders to this very long taper. And this wider part made the blade somewhat stronger and more resilient. It also gave you a wonderful surface that you could decorate. And you see all these wonderful scrolls, very much of the Rococo period. And at the top of the blade, something that looks to me very Celtic, the kind of twisting snake-like design. But then looking at the hilt, which is the really fine, really decorative part of this sword, you can see these wonderful scrolls. You can see these little scallop shells here at the ends of the grip. And it reminds me of the scallop shells that Martha Washington cross-stitched on chair cushions. There are shells in the architecture of Mount Vernon in the interior decoration. So very much of the period. Then you have this wonderful bright cut decoration on the knuckle bow intended to catch the eye, something that you associate with the latter part of the 18th century and the neoclassical period. So it must have been very new, just coming in London when Washington gets it in the late 1760s.